So, today I want to talk about how everyone is living in a bubble, a world that is constructed of their own perception. And this can relate to manifesting, this can relate to human design and gene keys, it can relate to a lot of the things that I already kind of talk about. But I have a personal example. So, it was Father's Day yesterday, and every year for birthdays and Father's Day and things like that, my sister and I call our father. And we called him yesterday. We told him Happy Father's Day, had a conversation, all that jazz. And he was like, "Why'd you guys call so late?" And it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, "Well, we had to wait for my sister to get off work and for him to get off work because they get off work around the same time." And then towards the end of the conversation, she was like, "Okay, I have to go because I'm going into my job right now." And he was like, "Wait, I thought you already had gotten off of work." And I was like, "Oh, she has multiple jobs, because if my sister's gonna do one thing, it's work. That girl, she's a generator with format channels. So she works, and she's a nurse, and she loves it. It's great." And he said something along the lines of, "That's what I'm talking about. That's my girl. At least one of y'all got my work ethic." And I stopped for a minute. I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, was that shade? Did my father just shade me? And I was like, that actually kind of hurt. Wait. And I kind of brushed it off. I was like, "Oh, okay, Dad, the subtle shade." He's like, "No, it's not shade." And I'm like, "No, it's fine. It's fine." And it really got me thinking that we truly are living in a bubble of our own perception. We see the world, we see people, we see situations, we see circumstances through the lens of our perceptions. And so often we make our perceptions the truth. We make our perceptions the thing. Or even worse, we make the perceptions of others the truth. Right? And that's how a lot of the world lives. So in my father's world, through his perception, the way he sees me through his own perception is that I don't have his work ethic, which is hilarious for multiple reasons. Number one, my father's human design chart and mine are damn near identical. He has 2 more channels than I do. He has a channel that connects his crown and his ajna, and a channel that connects his root and his sacral. But other than that, if you put our charts on top of each other, they are very, very similar. And we work in similar ways. But he doesn't know that. My father has built up a reputation for being very masterful at what he does. He has worked at the same place for years. And he does everything there. He does every job at that one place because he's been there so long, and because he has the energy for it, because he's a freaking manifesting generator with a 3420 channel. And so am I. So to him, that's his work ethic. He shows up, he does the job that needs to be done, he does all the things. And in his head, my sister having 2 jobs, that's also what she does. But he doesn't see me in that way because his perception of me, of what I'm doing and my work, is different. But it's not, the only thing that's different is the container, right? Because when did I upload my first YouTube? I uploaded my first YouTube video in October of 2021. It's now June of 2023. In a year and a half, I have created a YouTube channel. I've made it to 3,000 subscribers. I've become monetized. I've built up a community. I've built relationships. There are people on YouTube who never get those things, who never do those things. There are people who've been on YouTube for years and still do not have 1,000 subscribers. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm amazing, I'm rare, I'm special. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it does take work to do what I've done on YouTube, right? But he doesn't see that. That's not his perception, right? I have created a business that takes care of me, takes care of my bills, and allows me to invest in myself, that allows me to invest in others, that I wake up every morning and I'm excited to actually get to work. There are a lot of people who do not have that, who do not do that, who do not even feel capable of being able to create something like that. But that's not his perception, right? And I've done all of this while being in a graduate level master's program. And I'm about to graduate next year. The work ethic that it takes to do all three of those at the same time, it's kind of a thing, you know? But that's not his perception, right? So the reason why I'm saying all of this is because the way that other people perceive you, the way that other people perceive what you're doing is not the truth, is not the truth, period. And it is not your job, it is not your responsibility to change their perception. It's not. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, right? If we're all living in our own world, if we're all living in our own bubbles of perception, and if you've seen my video on how I see manifestation, you already know that, you know, there's parallel realities. That's how I see it, right? So if we're living in our own little worlds, what they think, what they perceive of you really doesn't matter. But we make it such a big deal. And in the moment, I did make it a big deal. And that's another thing that I pride myself on, because in the field that I'm in the work that I do with myself and with clients, it takes a lot of work ethic to build up the awareness that I have around my emotionality specifically. Because what he said in the moment was deeply, deeply hurtful and very triggering. But because of the work that I have done, because of the awareness that I have built, I understand that he didn't hurt me. His words rubbed up against a wound that I already have. So in the past, I would have gone to him and said, you hurt my feelings. But now I know, no, he didn't do that. What he said brushed up against something that was already there, something that I already at some level believe is true, that I don't work hard enough, that I don't have work ethic, right? That I'm not valuable, that I'm not good enough. Those were the triggers that I felt in that moment, but he didn't make them. He didn't, force that on me. Those triggers were already there, and he just kind of rubbed up against it. He just aggravated it, right? He inflamed the wounds that I already have. So I know that the work of bringing myself back to neutral, the work of regulating myself out of that trigger, has nothing to do with him. It's all about me. And that's what self-soothing and self-regulating and self-resourcing is. And there are so many people in the world who do not watch my channel, who don't do any of this kind of work, who do not have that awareness. They do not have that perception. When they get hurt, when they get triggered, it's the other person's fault. They hurt me. They hurt my feet. And I'm specifically talking about feelings. If someone has physically abused you, they've hurt you. Okay? Don't take my words out of context. We're talking specifically about emotions here. They hurt me. They did this thing to me and it right? They hurt me. That's how a lot of people will perceive their emotionality or triggering situations. I do not do that, because I understand, I have the awareness that if something is triggering to me, it's because on some level I believe it, and that's why it hurts. Because if I didn't believe it on some level, I'd be like, you're insane. You're smoking cinnamon. Because what? the things that we believe on some level are the things that affect us. I have a very deep inadequacy wound, a deep fear of not being perfect, a deep fear that I am not worthy, that the things I do are not worthy. And that's something that I'm probably always going to struggle with, but it's also something I have to always be aware of. The people are going to say things that are going to rub up against that. And it has nothing to do with them. I don't need them in order to bring myself back to regulated. And because we're all living in bubbles of our own perception, what they perceive of me does not matter. Because I always get to choose what is going to be my response, what is going to be what I do next. Because that is what is going to matter. So, I realize that this was probably a lot of information for a video, but I felt like it needed to be said, so I'm hoping that it whoever needs to hear it, I hope you're listening right now. So, that is it. I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next